Hi, everyone. Andrew Helgeson. I lead the Platform Alliance organization for Snowflake. Platform Alliances is a group of our elite and strategic technology partners spanning data integration, governance and security, observability, and business intelligence. These partners are critical for Snowflake and Snowflake customers to deliver data products and applications to our mutual customers. Most of these partners are out sponsoring the show today. About 2.5 years ago, I started working with DataOps.live and seeing the great work they were doing with some of our most complex Snowflake customers like Roche and OneWeb in delivering their automation and orchestration platform as well as a suite of developer tools for Snowpark. And I realized very quickly that if I could plug this technology into the right customers and right stakeholders, they could be transformational in our ability to jointly deliver applications and data products to customers more quickly in a governed and safe manner. What I didn't realize at the time was that was also going to be the case for Snowflake ourselves. At Snowflake, we have over 1,000 field-facing technical resources. These folks are responsible for delivering relevant demos with relevant data sets to all of the industries that we serve to showcase our mushrooming set of features on Snowflake. We've launched over a dozen this year and have many more to come. Now, we had challenges with these demos. These were individual demo accounts that each of our SEs, RSAs, and field CTOs were delivering to our customers, managing them themselves, no central management, no centralized control over the data sets that they were showing to customers, and no reporting on the efficacy of these demos. So we have a team that supports our SE organization called the Frostbite team that provides tooling for our demos. And they realized they needed to put something better together, something centralized, something we could report on. So they looked at what was out on the market. They considered building something ourselves, ultimately decided to partner and procure DataOps.live to run our demo platform. After about 4 or 5 months of very hard work by Guy and the team, they launched Snowflake Solutions Central. Snowflake Solutions Central is a curated catalog of demo assets with high-quality data sets for nearly every industry that we serve. These demos can be delivered in a single click, spin up, spin down the resources, so it's very efficient. It's highly customizable, so these AEs or SEs can jump in, create a demo that's right for their customer very quickly, and go and deliver that. It's platform agnostic as well, so they can show it on any cloud. This resulted in a 360x improvement in our ability to deliver demo code to the field. Now let's double click into a specific use case for Solutions Central. You may or may not remember, but about 6 or 8 months ago, Snowflake went through a CEO change. Sridhar Ramaswamy joined Snowflake from our Neeva acquisition, bringing a tremendous skill set to Snowflake in AI and product leadership. And within about a year, he became our CEO and delivered our Cortex suite of products, which includes first and third-party LLM support, Cortex Search for using natural language to ask questions in plain English of your data in Snowflake, and a suite of other services. Shortly before our Snowflake Summit, Sridhar came to the Frostbite team and said, I need a production-ready demo to show at Snowflake Summit to the tens of thousands of people that are coming to San Francisco to come and see our technology. And by the way, I need it in a week. In the previous world, this would have been tremendously complicated and hard for us to deliver. But with Snowflake Solutions Central, powered by DataOps.live, they were able to deliver this in less than 1 week. It's tremendously successful. Now, I'm going to pass this over to Guy so that he can talk a little bit more about what DataOps.live can do and show you a live demo.
Thanks. OK, so picking up where Andrew left off, obviously here we're talking about Snowflake as an organization. They have a very specific use case for deploying data products. In their case, these data products are actually demos to customers such as yourselves or prospective customers. So I'm going to talk through kind of how we work with Snowflake and what we built there, but then I'm also going to bring it back to actually the use case for deploying demos and the use case for deploying data products into your businesses are actually virtually identical. And when you think about those statistics, I mean, 360 times speed up. And this is not, a Mickey Mouse organization. This is not Fred's Laundrette. This is, one of the industry's biggest players are saying, we had such a challenge doing this, we did it 360 times faster when we had DataOps.live. So let's just delve into some of those requirements that Sridhar came up with. Hopefully you can see some of this. So first of all, we needed to build something that inherited from reusable components, because the Frostbite team had already built a bunch of stuff. Then this needs to be a highly secure system, so we need to integrate with enterprise secrets managers to get all the credentials. Then, for the purpose of this demo, we need to go out to YouTube and download a bunch of YouTube videos from the Snowflake developer channel. Then we needed to build a Snowpark container service image using a particular model to do audio to text conversion, to build transcripts from each of those videos. Then we needed to deploy that image. We needed to build that container image. Then we need to deploy it to Snowflake. Then we needed to create and run a container service on top of that using that image to actually do the transcriptions, load the results back into Snowflake, validate that those transcriptions work. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. We're about to fine-tune a model or something here, so if we don't have decent data, we know it's going to be a mess. Then we've got to chunk those transcripts up, and we've got to create a Cortex search on top of them. Then we've got to create a Snowflake notebook, which was absolutely brand new at the time. No one had ever integrated with them, really. We've got to create a Streamlit app that Sridhar can use on stage to show everybody this stuff. And finally, we've got to put that Streamlit app somewhere. So if I look at that as a set of requirements, this is pretty edge case complexity. This is pretty, in terms of the amount of things we've got to do. So if I was to ask you to deploy a data product that looked like that today, it would take, most organizations months. I'm going to try, internet willing. I'm tethered to my phone, by the way. All the Wi-Fi doesn't work. To show you how this works for Snowflake. So what we have here is the Snowflake Solution Catalog. Whoops. We're not seeing it. I'm going to have to, sorry. There we go. So here I have the Snowflake Solution Catalog. So this is what all of the Snowflake field teams are using to go through the tens or hundreds of data products or solutions that are available. And I can search and slice and dice these all sorts of ways, but I know that I want to demo something that's using Cortex. So I've asked for Cortex here, so I've got 6 possible demos. And I read through my descriptions. I see, hey, this one's been deployed 100 times. 5 people like it. That looks like the one for me. Having enormous problems with the internet, apologies. And I've actually already got 14 deployments of this, because this is something I'm using pretty regularly. Whether the internet will play or not, we'll see. But one of the big requirements here was that Snowflake teams are doing demos to multiple customers. So it's not just a matter of deploying this once. They want to be able to deploy potentially the same data product time after time with slightly different parameters, slightly different use cases. So what I have here is what a Snowflake SE would have. They've deployed the same demo multiple times for multiple customers and maybe tailored and tweaked it. So I've already got an example here, but let's say, okay, I want to build something new. I want to deploy a new version of this data product. So I click Setup. I've got a few prerequisites that I need to do. So I'm going to say, okay, those prerequisites, I've got the certain account things, and I'm going to set up a few parameters. I'm going to say who I'm doing the demo for, nice link to the customer's logo so the customer gets a nice branded experience, and I'm going to say what Snowflake account I want to deploy it into. And that's it. I'm done. I can go away, check emails, make coffee. It's about 10 or 11 minutes, and it's now going to build a pipeline that deploys every one of those things that we just talked about, every one of those things I went through. It's going away in the background now. It's downloading YouTube videos. It's building a Docker image. It's uploading the Docker image to the registry. It's running it. It's getting the transcripts. It's testing the transcripts. And at the end of that, it's going to give me a Streamlit application to interact with all the results. To avoid waiting 10 minutes in true Blue Peter style, we will go to, hopefully, here's one I created earlier, if the internet plays ball. So this is at the end. Once we've deployed the demo, we get this thing called the solution homepage. This is kind of like your self-documentation for your data product. So anything that you want to say about your data product, you want to link to other things, you want to link to bits of the data, you want to describe how to use it. But in this case, I've got a button that says Launch Streamlit Application. So this would describe your data products in any way you like. Obviously, for a demo, it works in a particular way. And what it does is take me to here, where I now have a Streamlit application that's been built for me. And here I can go and choose to transcribe more videos, or I can start using the advanced Cortex capabilities. So here, we've got all the videos we've downloaded. We can choose what foundational model we want to use, and I can ask a question. So here I might say, OK, what are the key product announcements from Snowflake Summit? Because those were the videos that we were downloading. And it's now going to go away and do two things. It's going to use Cortex search that we built on those transcriptions to find which videos are relevant to answer this question, and then it's going to go through the transcriptions of each of those videos, pass them into Cortex Complete, Cortex LLM, and it's going to pull out the answers. So what it's given us is these are the 10 big product announcements from Snowflake Summit, in this case 2023, and these are the videos that we analyzed. These are the videos that Cortex Search said were the relevant ones. So when we talk about building data products here, we're not just talking about the relatively simple use case of ingest some data, transform the data, make it available. We're doing end-to-end all the way through to not just making some data available, but using that, putting it in Cortex Search, and building an application on top of it. And that's something a lot of people I had a lot of conversations yesterday about this. People struggle with this. Last year, we were all talking about data products. And this year, most people are still talking about data products, but we're also talking about AI and AI applications. And do these things coexist? Are they competing? With all of this sort of discussion about applications and AI, let's not forget that those are just other ways of presenting the results of a data product. Those are just things on the right-hand side. Those are presentation interfaces. My data product can expose tables, or views, or files, or REST APIs, or fine-tuned LLMs, or full applications. So all those things we're talking about, as critical as they are and as powerful as they are, still live under this overarching concept of data products. They just exist as other ways of taking that data, taking that value I've created, and exposing it to my consumers. The other thing that we can do here, we should start thinking about the life cycle. I mean, when Snowflake came to us, this was their main challenge. How do we discover solutions? How do we deploy them? We said, that's great. Once we've solved that, how often do these solutions change? Oh, well, they're probably going to change every few months. OK, do you want your field teams using out-of-date solutions? Well, no. OK, so how do we do upgrades? So this one here, we can see there's a solution that we deployed some time ago. It's ready to use, and it's passing the validation, so it's all ready, but it's on an older version. So all I have to do is one click, update solution, that's it. I've now brought that solution, that data product, all the way up to the latest specification. And assuming I've done a demo with a customer, I don't need it anymore, I can go in here and I can say delete solution. It's going to ask me a couple of things to make sure I'm sure, and it's going to wipe that out. So this is not just creating and deploying. This is actually doing complete life cycle of data products. And that's something that's really important when we think about data ops. Data ops is not just the first thing that everyone jumps to, which is how do I build things quicker and get them out the door? Yes, that's where everyone jumps to first. That's where everyone wants to be efficient. How many of these things are going to exist in 20 years' time? Probably none of them. So that means at some point, they're going to be end-of-lifed. And one of the things that the data world is really bad at is having an actual life cycle of the things that they produce. I come from the software world, and this was kind of built in. Product managers would say, look, we're going to build this, we're going to use it for a period of time until it becomes obsolete or something else, and then we're going to retire it. But retiring things, end-of-lifing things, was kind of bread and butter. The data world's very bad at saying, you know what, this thing is no longer relevant, it no longer delivers the value, we should end-of-life it, we should kill it, or replace it with something better. So when you're thinking about data products, when you're thinking about data ops, don't just think about how can I get this stuff out the door quickly. Yes, that's critical, but think about the complete life cycle. How am I going to update it? When am I going to update it? How frequently? And ultimately, how am I going to judge its value so that I can make a decision that says, this thing is no longer worth the time and effort I'm having to put into it? OK, so if we just switch back, think back to all those blocks we talked about. That took a week to build. So this is a data product at the extreme edge case of complexity that took a week to build. One of our customers was in the data ops hall this morning talking about the majority of their data products take a data build. They're going from requirement first thing in the morning to a data product in production in the same day. And that's what you should be targeting. For a simple data product, you should be getting out the door the same day. For an extreme edge case data product, using technology, bits and pieces you've never seen before, a week is a fair estimate. And it took me 10 minutes to deploy. So how many people can say they can build new data products, complicated data products from scratch in a week, and they can deploy them in 10 minutes? Not many. The other thing I want to point out here is the definition of data ops as it exists today, I think is quite different than it existed 2, 3, 4 years ago. So if we look at the things that we've got going on here, there are clearly some software DevOps things. I'm doing secrets manager integration. I'm doing Git inheritance. I'm building Streamlit applications in Python. So this is not traditional DataOps. I'm not writing SQL queries. I'm not ingesting data. I'm not writing automated data tests. I'm doing classic software development activities. Of course, I've got traditional data activities as well. See, this is slightly the wrong way around, apologies. I've got traditional data activities, I'm downloading data, I'm creating transcripts, I'm validating, but then I've also got cloud ops. Apologies, those colors are switched. I've got traditional cloud infrastructure type tasks. I'm building container images, I'm pushing them, I'm hosting them, I'm hosting applications. So in this day and age, because of all the things that, particular things that Snowflake are coming out with in terms of Cortex, in terms of Streamlit, the ability to take advantage of all of those requires skill sets beyond just traditional data engineering. To be truly effective and efficient in a Snowflake world, to get maximum value, you've got to be able to do DevOps and have a whole software development lifecycle. You've got to be able to have a data development lifecycle and do all the development of the data pieces, and you've got to have a whole cloud infrastructure piece. And that's really, really difficult. And that kind of brings me on to kind of where we fit and where we work very closely with Snowflake. So we're very proud to be the Snowflake's Growth Partner of the Year. And the reason that we got that award was because of how neatly what we do integrates and fits with what Snowflake does. So if you think about how Snowflake's evolved over the years, back in the early days of Snowflake, when I started using it back in 2017, it was relatively simple. I could put data in and I could share it. I mean, I'm grossly simplifying it. But the amount of infrastructure I needed to support that from a build, test, deploy, from a non-functional perspective was relatively simple. But then Snowflake came along with things like Snowpark, and the partner ecosystem expanded, and I needed more infrastructure, more plumbing, more DevOps capabilities. And then we got Cortex and Streamlit, and we needed more underneath this line. Now we've got native apps and container services, and we've got more underneath this line. What Snowflake does a fantastic job of is building these functional components above the line and making them simple to use, making them robust, making them performant, making them secure. What we do is provide, every time something new from Snowflake comes out, provide the pieces underneath that line that allow you to build, develop, test, and deploy those very, very quickly, very, very easily. And every time something new comes out, we adopt it. And I think this it's fair to say the rate of this is exponential.
Yes.
I mean, Andrew told me that this graph is showing like 2 things going forward. It's something like 20 significant new features in the next year. So the rate of change, the rate at which you have to be able to adopt new capabilities is increasing exponentially. And that's what our customers rely on us on, is that every time something new comes out, we build that function underneath the line so they can just go, take that stuff from Snowflake, drop it straight into what they're doing, and get the benefits of it in literally hours. So how do we do that? The DataOps platform is built up of fundamentally 6 modules. The first one is our create. This is the entry point, not just for developers and engineers, but for almost anybody in the business, non-technical users as well. So we get, for example, a lot of data product managers coming in here. This is a very step-by-step graphical wizard that says, what do you want to create? Is it a brand new data product? Do you want a native app? Do you want an AI capability? Do you want to import a DBT project? And it's a step-by-step wizard that gets you the skeleton, the framework of a data product. And it gets you that in about 10 minutes. And in fact, we've got a session tomorrow in the DataOps theater where I'll go through, and we'll go through creating a data product end-to-end, including an advanced Streamlit application, without a single line of code and without a single bit of SQL. We do the entire thing using natural language. So we'll build an advanced Streamlit application on top of a pretty sophisticated data set without ever having to write a line of Python, write a line of SQL, edit a configuration file. The whole thing uses natural language, and it does that through something I'll talk about in a minute, which is our assist capability. So create gets us started. Create gets us that foundational data product, that skeleton, that outline, and it gets us that in about 10 minutes. Then we move into develop. Develop is our cloud studio, or our cloud IDE, that standardizes everything. One of the things you'll notice in this previous diagram is, I didn't comment on it, but everything becomes the same color. Because when you think about that, I've got Python development over here, I've got SQL development over there, I've got automated testing down here, I've got Docker files over there. These are all completely different things that are developed, tested, deployed in different ways. And that's an absolutely huge learning curve for people coming to it. Our job is to as much as humanly possible, to standardize that. So you have a standard development experience. Doesn't matter whether I'm building a SQL stored procedure or a Streamlit application or a new container service function. I can do all of those using the same tool set, in the same browser context, with the same development cycle and the same experience. Ultimately, it's all about that developer experience. And that's what Develop gives us. And we've had that for some time, and that's been one of the biggest factors that's 10x'd our efficiency across our customers. But there are things that we can do even beyond that. Even providing that unified developer experience, that will provide, for example, a very fast way for me to test my Streamlit application or my Python UDF. But sometimes I just don't want to. Sometimes I want to describe what I want, and I want to have the majority of the work done for me. And that's really where the biggest and the best use case that I see today still for generative AI is in this kind of copilot capability, where I just say, I want a function, an application, a table, a view, or whatever to do this, and I get it built for me. And it's probably 95% right. And that's what I'll go through in the presentation tomorrow, is how we iterated on building a very, very sophisticated Streamlit application, including handling errors that came up, without ever having to write a line of code. And then finally, where the rubber hits the road, when I've done all of that, I've got this thing that's ready to go. I'm ready to push it into production, and that's where the operate platforms. This is actually the piece that is running pipelines multiple times a day, multiple times an hour potentially, that's constantly updating my data products, that's what's handling all of my governance, all my change control, all my promotion from feature branches to dev to pre-prod to prod. That's what's doing all of my feature branch environment creation. So every time as a developer I come along and say, hey, I've got an existing data product, I want to create a change, I want a new version of it. You create a feature branch. That feature branch creates a complete sandbox environment for that developer to work in, so they can move fast, not worry about breaking things, not worry about other people breaking their stuff. Most importantly, not worry about breaking production, which is the killer for all engineer and developer efficiency. If you're petrified about impacting production, you work slowly and you work carefully. Engineers don't like working slowly and carefully. Engineers like working quickly and not worry about breaking things. So all of that's kind of built into our Operate platform. And then Observe is the other side of the DataOps loop. So Observe is where we're looking at everything that's going on, everything that we've deployed. We're looking at the utilizations. We're looking at the financial implications of that. We're bringing it all back together and providing that kind of overarching observability view of all of our data products and our pipelines. And I think that's probably a good point to pass back to Andrew to maybe talk about why a customer like Snowflake is using DataOps.live and the sort of kind of benefits they're getting.
Yeah, I think many customers are faced with a decision to build or buy, and Snowflake ourselves, as mentioned earlier, we're looking at that, and the data speaks for itself. I mean, some of these results, 360x improvement for us. We see mutual customers that are using DataOps.live with Snowflake deploying code 100x faster than they were previously, 5 times faster market to value, meaning they're more competitive in their industries, 4x efficiency at scale, better resource efficiency, so they can do more with fewer resources, troubleshoot faster, and 200x data quality, both with built-in features and integrations with the data quality features of our other partners. So if Snowflake can get the kind of benefits we did from DataOps.live, imagine what they can do for you. Please come visit us in the booth. Come find me. I'd love to talk to you more about the Snowflake ecosystem, how we work with partners, and then come please join us for drinks later tonight.
Yep. So we've got, you can sign up for our private preview, which is our latest and greatest capabilities. That's including a bunch of stuff that we haven't presented here, like our native app builder. We've got ebooks, which is Data Product for Dummies and DataOps for Dummies, which you can get from our website. Come and join us at the booth, get tickets for our drinks event this evening. I think Andrew and I will be around for a couple of minutes at the end of this, and then we'll be back at the DataOps booth. So anybody that's got any questions, wants to talk to us in more detail about anything that we're doing for our customers, anything that we're doing for Snowflake, or any of the wider Snowflake benefits from this, just come and talk to us. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you.